Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be taking a look at the Transformers Siege Deluxe Class Refraktor. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. Is it a pickup or a pass? Now usually I would take a look at the packaging, but unfortunately I don't currently have it in my possession, so we're just going to get straight into the figure's details. Here we have Refraktor in his robot mode. Let's start off by taking a look at the details, starting at the very top with the head sculpt. We have some silver for the face with some red for the eyes and some purple for the main helmet section. There's some really nice cybernetic detailing done in green with a piece of clear plastic over the top. Actually kind of like the mismatched design where there's the Decepticon symbol on this shoulder, but not one on the other. And there's some really nice surface detailing at the shoulders and forearms. And there's some nice red near the cuff or wrist, and there's some more of that dark gray for the hand as well. And if you do see several posts across the entire figure, that was actually one of the main gimmicks or fun playable features a part of the Siege line. You could actually take an effects part or effects piece that was rubberized plastic, and you could attach it to those posts and actually look like the figure's been shot or attacked, which I always really liked that feature. That was pretty fun for pictures and stop motions, and I really do like that. And of course, they actually have the lens cap at the chest or stomach region, which is pretty cool, done in gray with some purple for the crotch and waist with some really nice details there. And I do like the different shade of purple at the front of the legs with some silver and red as well, and some more silver at the feet. And if we actually do flip to the back, I'm quite impressed with how clean and compact the back is. Yes, there is quite a bit of hollowness, of course, behind the arms and this back region and behind the legs. It's a deluxe class figure, so it's kind of expected. Of course, these gaps are for a reason. The head tucks inside and the hands tuck inside there as well. So it is for a purpose, but overall, of course, not much panels or anything sticking out. A very compact back for, a 4 or 5 year old figure. So quite impressed in that aspect. But that is pretty much it for details. So now for articulation, the head can look up and down, side to side. There is actually rotation back at the shoulder, mostly due to transformation. There is rotation at the bicep, double jointed elbow bend at the arm. There is also, of course, movement forward, back, out to the side and in for the arm. There is a fully uncompromised waist rotation. The legs can kick forward and back, and of course out to the side. There is rotation at the top of the leg, a knee bend to a pretty good degree, and there is also an ankle pivot and a toe bend. So pretty good articulation. Really, the only thing that could have been improved is a wrist rotation, but of course it's a Deluxe class figure, and a part of transformation you actually do fold in the hands, so it's kind of expected. Typically, I would say about 50% of Deluxe class figures do not have a wrist rotation, so there's really no surprise there. But as for his accessories, he actually comes with 3 accessories, which is pretty good. This is a Deluxe class figure, so I do like that. So the first one is actually already on. It's this lens cap piece, so we already showed that. Now for the next one, it's actually this really cool shield, and if you know me, if you watch my videos for a while now, I really do like melee weapons, axes, shields, swords, so I'm really glad how this was included. And if you do think this looks like a camera lens, that's actually for a reason. I'll cover and show why that is a little bit later in the video, but some really nice details with a red stripe and gray, and there's actually 2 posts or 2 handles, so you can store this several different ways. You can actually put it in his hand. This is my preferred look. That is just my opinion, so you can actually have him using it like that. And there is, again, another handle, so you can store this on like the forearm. There's several posts and ports all across the entire figure, so you have quite a few options to display the shield. And there's actually one on the back of the figure. I'm not sure if this is like officially why they put this here, but I have actually used this for display purposes. You can actually use that port right there and this post, and you can actually store on the back. Again, I'm not entirely sure if this was made or put there for that, but it does work, so you can use it if you want to. But again, as I said, I actually prefer putting it in his hand. I think that looks the best in my opinion. As for his final accessories, this really cool pistol or blaster, which is blast effect piece compatible in case you're wondering. Pretty well sculpted. Probably could have used some more paint, like some silver or purple, but again, really nice details here and there. And you can, of course, plug this into his hand or any of the MagTech ports across the entire figure. And that is pretty much it for the accessories. So let's now get down to a few quick comparisons. Quite a few deluxes I want to compare him to. So here he is with Ironhide, looking pretty cool side by side. And if you want me to re-review any of Siege figures, Earthrise, or Kingdom figures, I would be glad to. I'm actually mostly reviewing this figure here because I actually have 3 Refraktor figures now, so I can finally do the combined camera form and show it on camera. My first time reviewing this figure, I never even had 3, so I couldn't even show the combined form. So that's the main reason why I'm re-reviewing it. But if you want to see a review of Ironhide or any other figure, let me know in the comments. And now for another Deluxe class figure comparison. Here he is with Cog, looking pretty cool side by side. He is with Prowl, and last but not least, here he is with another Decepticon, Brunt. And that is pretty much it for comparisons. Of course, I'll make several more after he's transformed. Let's now get down to transformation. So what we're going to do is remove all the accessories. Just put these off to the side for now. We will need them in just a sec. So just remove that little lens cap piece or whatever you want to call it. You can actually fold in the hands just like that. They will fill in those gaps behind the arm. Just fold those in. You're going to rotate the head all the way around, flip that down to fill in that gap just like that. Then what you can do is rotate at the waist all the way around. You can then use this joint, of course, hinge the shoulders and arms back. You're then going to rotate at the bicep, use this tab on the arm and this slot on the front of the waist, and that's just going to tab right into place just like that. So do the same thing on the other side. That's just going to tab into place just like that. And there we go. And then what you can do is flip out these little kind of ski or skiff pieces, whatever you want to call them. Just flip these out. Then you can use the swivel at the top of the leg, rotate these in. Then you can bring in the feet like that. And then what you're going to do is actually use one of the first accessories. You're actually going to use these two posts on both sides and ports on the inside. Then you're just going to plug these into place just like that. So just plug that in like that. Tab this together. And there we go. Sometimes you do have to squeeze quite a bit to get all the gaps, filled in, no creases or anything. Then what you're going to do is bring out this piece right here, fold this other panel out. There is slots there, and there is tabs here. And that'll just tab into place just like that. Line that up. Like that. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky. There we go. And just tab that into place. And of course, that actually helped quite a bit. All those crevices are gone. Then you can bring in the shield piece. There is a post right there and a port right on top right there. That'll just plug into place right that. And then you can bring in this little circular piece. There is a port and a peg. And you can just plug that into place on the back. And there we have a Refraktor in his kind of speeder skiff mode. Let's take a look at the details. Here we have our Refraktor in his speeder skiff mode. Let's take a look at the details. Starting at the very front, we have the entire turret or barrel section looking very cool at the front. This is actually Blast Effect piece compatible, so if you want, you can attach some effects pieces and do some really cool pictures and stop motions, which I think is a really nice, fun, playable feature. I do think the accessory in this area could use some more paint, because compared to the rest of the alt mode, it is pretty bland and boring, but I do like all the cybernetic detailing done in green with some nice clear plastic here. We actually have the shield stored on the top, which actually forms this kind of nice dome or shell piece. I do have to say, for this figure having 3 accessories, I think they did a really good job, storing them all in each mode in a really good way. We actually have the little lens cap piece actually at the back forming the booster. And if you want to see it from a side view, this is actually quite long and thin. I think it's supposed to be some sort of speeder, hovercraft mode. I'm not entirely sure if that's what they were going for. I think it looks pretty cool in my opinion. And if you actually do look at the bottom, we have the entire ski section down here, which again, could probably use some more paint. I think probably my main complaint for this mode, though, is the arms, because they kind of just stick out the bottom. It really would have been nice if they, maybe done something more creative, because as it is, it's quite obvious these are the arms. There's really no hiding it, but I still do quite like this mode in my opinion. So now for some comparisons. Here he is with the Deluxe class Barricade. Here he is with another Decepticon, that being Brunt in his tank mode. And for one final Autobot comparison, here he is with Cog in his huge, pretty much battle station, truck tank mode. I don't even know what to call it. It just looks so cool side by side. And that is pretty much it for comparisons. So let's now get down to reverse transformation. What you're going to do is remove the accessories. You're going to remove the shield, just put that off to the side. You're actually going to have to flip up this piece here. Then you can separate the legs just like that. Just kind of slowly wiggle them apart. They are pretty tabbed together. There we go. Then you can remove the blaster. Again, put that off to the side. Then you can bring out the feet like that. So you can then flip in these little ski pieces inside the legs like that as well. You can then rotate the legs forward. You can also remove the circular piece, put that off to the side. Then what you're going to do is fold in this flap, fold it into the chest like that. You can then bring the arms forward as well using that hinge. Rotate at the bicep. You can then flip the hands out. Just kind of get your nail in there. Flip that forward and out like that. There we go. Rotate at the waist all the way around. You can then flip his head out and rotate the head around as well. bring back that circular piece and plug it into his chest. And of course you can just reattach his accessories and pose him however you wish. Just put a shield in his hand like that. And there we have reverse transformation. So let's now get down to the combined camera mode. So now for the combined camera mode, be aware you do have to have 3 of the exact same figure. So I would advise trying to get at least 1 or 2 of these on sale. What actually happened to me is one of these I got when Siege was actually, happening, was first released. So I got one of them for retail, about $25, $24, which was good. And the other 2 I just got quite recently. I think it was the beginning of this year or very end of last year, like December or January or something. And I found them from a local toy store in my area for about $15 each, which is, just a few dollars less, which I would say any deal is a good deal. So if you have maybe 1 right now or just none, of course, just to get at least 1 or 2 on sale, because again, you have to have 3 of the same figure. Also about the transformation to the combined camera mode, this is a bit of an interesting case. So actually with the packaging, when this was first, shown off and revealed, we all knew we were most likely going to get a camera mode. It was either going to be official or someone was going to come up with their own, like a fan mode. It was going to happen at some points, but of course there was actually a product picture of the camera mode on the back of the box. But with the instruction booklet, there was no steps on how to do it. So Hasbro was pretty much saying, yes, this is a mode, but you have to come up with it on your own. So there's quite a few videos on YouTube of people just kind of coming up with their own way of how to transform it into the combined camera mode. So there's probably several variations and versions of how people transform it. I'm just going to show you how I learned it from several videos I've seen recently and over the time. So you can probably customize it to your liking, but I'm just going to show you how I like to do it. So let's now get into it. So what you want to do is fold in the hands behind the arms, just like that. You're going to then rotate the head around, and then you're just going to fold it into that cavity and fill it up. You can then rotate at the waist, like that. Then you can rotate at the top of the leg, like that. And then flip out these little ski pieces, like that, or skiff pieces, whatever you want to call them. You can then use this joint at the shoulder, rotate the arms back, use the bicep swivel, and then rotate the arms up like that. Just kind of fold these up into place. And then, of course, as you can see, there's these huge crevices here, and you're going to fill them in using the arms. So just rotate these up and into place like that. Same thing on the other side. Just rotate that up and into place like that. And there we go. And there is a tab here and a slot right there. That's just going to tab into place like that, and just make sure everything is nice and compact. There we have one portion or one part of the combined camera mode. So of course you do have to have 2 other of the same figure. So just bring these out, and you're going to have these facing back. So of course here's the front. You're going to want the other 2 to be facing like this. So just have those facing back, and then you can combine them. So there is of course a port there, a peg there, and a port and peg, Just combine all these into place like that, corresponding peg and ports. Make sure they're nice and secure. You don't want them falling apart or anything. So there we have the majority of it almost done. We actually have to use all the accessories now. So you have, pretty much 3 of the same accessories. So as for these little small disc pieces, you're going to put one of them here at the front, like that. One of them is going to go at the bottom. And as for the third one, there's actually really no set use for it. I typically kind of just store it at the back. Some people have actually seen use it as like a flash or like a button. So if you wanted to, you could put it on the top to act as a button. I typically just put it on the back. That's typically how I do it. Of course, your toy, you can do whatever you want. So as for the shield pieces, this actually forms the lens, which I think is like the coolest thing. So you just have to connect all of them. There is a tab and slot there. You can probably see that. And just tab that in place. Then you can bring in the third one and just tab all of these into a place like that. Make sure it's nice and secure. As you can see, there is slots right there, and there is tabs on the whole flash itself, and that will just tab into place like that. And there we have the flash attached, and I think that looks really, really cool. On mine, it typically does not really want to stay. It's quite loose, so hopefully it does not pop off. So maybe if you have this, if you ever get this, hopefully it's a better, more fit on yours. But as for the blasters, this actually forms the tripod or stand. It's kind of like the same, connections as the shields. You just tab all 3 together. As you can see, there's a tab there and a slot there, and a corresponding tab and slot on the last one. And just line all of that up. As you can see, there is 3 tabs at the accessories, and there are slots on this one. And you're just going to want to align this into place and make sure that's nice and secure, because this is going to pretty much have it, standing up. And there we have the combined camera mode. I have to say, this looks Absolutely awesome. I mean, it's been a while since I've transformed it, and I had to wait a long time to finally get it, so I think this looks really cool. I'm going to quickly take a look at the details, because of course quite a few of these details shown here are pretty much present on the other two modes, so I'm not going to spend that much time on it. But we have the huge lens looking really cool with that clear plastic on the inside. We have that really nice red stripe going all the way around. I do like the tripod. I have to say probably the shields probably work better as the lens, and the tripod, it looks a bit ugly at times because, you know, there's quite a few posts, like the handles from the blaster, so it's a good, you know, effort. It probably could have been a bit better because it's a bit ugly at times, but still pretty cool and creative. And I do like, you know, the camera itself with the really nice cybernetic detailing and stuff. And again, quite customizable. I've actually seen people hinge this up to act as the flash for it, because there's actually some silver there. And again, as I mentioned before, the other third circular piece, you could act as a button if you want to. So there's quite a few customized options that you can do, but I typically just kind of have it as this. But for one quick camera on camera comparison, here he is with the Transformers Canon Collaborative Optimus Prime, which I did recently review on this channel. And I think they look pretty cool side by side. And this one's actually pretty big, you know, not as big as this, but for 3 Deluxes combined, I think it's pretty big, and they look pretty cool side by side. And that is pretty much it for this combined camera mode. Let's now get down to the final thoughts. So now for the final thoughts for the Transformers Siege Deluxe Class Refraktor. I think overall this figure is really good. Starting in the robot mode, articulation is really good. I think the only thing that could have been improved is the wrist rotation, but the hands fold in, so that's mostly due to transformation, so I'm not really going to, you know, take any points or deduct the figure at all. I think it's still a really good figure. Articulation in other areas is really good. There's actually a double elbow bend, which is always really nice to see, and it's nice because you barely ever really use that for transformation. I think they only included that a part of the combined mode, so still really nice to pose this figure on. He actually comes with 3 accessories, which is really nice because this is a, you know, deluxe class figure. Most deluxes typically only come with 1, maybe 2 at times. I do know, you know, one of them is that small little circular piece, but still a really nice addition because it plays a lot of roles, you know, in the combined camera mode and the little skiff mode. So I'm really glad how there's 3 accessories for a deluxe class figure. As for, you know, the other accessories, he comes with a really cool shield, which if you know me, I love melee weapons, swords, shields, and axes. I think they're always really good, and whenever Hasbro does them, they look really cool with the figure that's included with. And the blaster is nice. It probably could use some more paint apps. I probably think they want it to be plain and more bare because it does act as the tripod or stand for the camera mode, so I know they wanted to do, you know, some crazy colors like purple or like silver or like pink or something crazy, but I think they probably could have added like some gunmetal gray. Something simple I think would have worked and wouldn't have affected this mode or the other one. I also do have to say I really like how they used all the accessories in all 3 modes. You know, this combined camera mode, the robot mode, and the skiff mode. You know, 3 accessories. They had to find a place and a purpose for all of them. And I think it really worked well. I think they all store in a really good place and position. And, you know, none of them look bad. I think they all really work. As for the skiff mode and transformations, transformation is actually really simple. I've had this figure, you know, for quite a while now. It's a deluxe, so they're typically not that complex, but I haven't transformed it, you know, a couple months, and I didn't even need to look up the instructions or review. I was able to transform it like that. It's quite simple and very fun. You know, you don't always need some huge, you know, task and hard thing to transform. It's just kind of one of those toys that you can have on your desk or near you that you can just kind of fiddle with and transform back and forth constantly. As for the skiff mode, I actually think it's pretty cool. I'm not entirely sure if it's supposed to be like a speeder or hovercraft or like skiff. That's what I call it. It's kind of like a skiff or like land speeder thing. Again, not sure if that was their intent, but I think it really works as that. The blaster actually stores at the front, which is pretty cool. You can actually attach some effects pieces there, so you can do some really cool pictures and poses for stop motions. I think that's really fun. The entire circular piece actually stores at the back and becomes the booster, which again, really cool placement with that. And the shield stores on the top, which I have to say, storing a shield is very hard for pretty much any toy and figure of any class and size. You know, Voyager, Leader, Deluxe, Commander class, it's always hard to store a, you know, size or mold of that, you know, accessory. So I think they did a really good job with that. It's pretty hard to place it and actually look good, and I think it looks really good there. There is some nice circuitry detailing done in green. I think that looks really nice. I do have to say again, some more paint would have been nice for the accessory because it's like right at the front of the alt mode, so it just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb because the rest of the alt mode, you know, is really well painted. There's some nice circuitry detailing, really nicely molded and painted, so it just sticks out like a sore thumb. It's really obvious, looks unfinished. That's probably one of my major complaints for this figure. I do also have to say on the side of the figure, really nothing to do with paint, but the arms, they kind of just store on the bottom of the speeder or skiff mode, which it really, like, it's very obvious they're the arms. There's really no, kidding or joking around. It's obviously the arms. They do fold in the hands, which is nice, but maybe they could have thrown in some more steps. Maybe they could have transformed it more to make it less obvious. They could have added some extra panels. I do know they want the more clean, no panel look, which is good. I really like it. I have to say the back of the remote mode is so clean. Probably one of the most, clean, non-Kipli deluxe class figures I've seen in several years. So very impressive in that aspect. But I do think they probably could have transformed it more, because as it is, it's not that creative. They kind of just, put them on the bottom and that's it. But still a very fun alt mode. So now for the combined camera mode, I'm not really going to judge it that much because you do need 3, so I really won't take any points away. I'm really just going to kind of judge on the base figure, because most people probably won't get 3 of these unless you're like a die-hard Transformers fan that want to complete, everything. Or if you happen to find them on sale. I do have to stress like a lot. If you want to get all 3 of these, if you have 1 now or 2 now or none, try and find at least one of them on sale. I tried as hard as I could. That's probably why it took so long. I actually reviewed this figure once before on my channel when I first got it, and I didn't have the other 2 at the time. That's why I'm re-reviewing this, because at the time I couldn't show the combined form. And at that time, I didn't even think I was ever going to get it. I was thinking, will I ever even get to see, the combined camera mode in my hand? I might not ever get it. And I was content with that. I really wasn't willing to spend that much money on 3 of the same figures. So I really would advise try and get at least one of them on sale. I just went to a local toy store in my area and I found two. I found 2 brand new mint condition. It was like in January or December for like $15. So definitely look at your toy stores. Maybe eBay could be a good idea, but I do like the camera mode. I'm not really going to judge it. I'm not going to deduct points on the Refraktor figure alone. Just as, getting all 3, I think it's still pretty fun. I think the lens made out of the shields, that's pretty cool and creative. I think that looks really cool. I love the clear plastic. That's really nice. Actually, I think they did a really good job using the circular pieces, because you actually put one near the tripod to connect, of course, the weapons to, and one's actually at the lens. The third one you just kind of store on the back. I've seen people use it in several different ways. I've seen people use it as a button. Most people I've seen just kind of put it on the back like that. So really up to you. And there is many more customized options. Like I've seen people flip up the feet to form a flash. I've seen lots of things. You can really go nuts with it if you want to. I do like the tripod stand. I think that's really cool and creative. I do think the shields working as the lens works better than the blasters working as the tripod, because again, pretty bland. There's, at least like some nice molding, and there's some like red striping on the shield lens piece. That's more interesting. And there's some clear plastic. I think maybe they could have included like another accessory to add to the tripod just to make it more interesting and come alive, because as it is, it's just gray. Could have used maybe like some silver at the barrel or something just to make it a bit more interesting. I do know, they have to make the weapons work for all 3 modes. I know they can't put any crazy colors, because if you do it for this mode, it could look weird in the other modes. So it is a bit hard to, make all the modes happy for all the accessories. So I do understand that, but still could have used some more paint here and there. I do like this figure. I think it's really cool. I do hope you enjoyed this re-review. I know I reviewed it quite a few years back, which of course my camera quality, the lighting was not nearly as good. I didn't even have this white backdrop at the time, so it's much better. I'm hoping you like this. I hope you enjoy and like this review much more than the first one. And of course now you can finally see the combined camera mode right before you. So if you want me to review, re-review any other, Siege figure that I've already reviewed, but years back, if you want me to review, Siege Ironhide or Siege Optimus Prime, something like that, just let me know in the comments and I would be glad to. I actually really like, taking a look at some older figures that I haven't seen in a while. I think it's pretty fun. But I do hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below, and I will see you next time.